when you have a big or a better vision, it's easier to get out of bed. Patrick and I were talking about stuff like this recently, right? It's easier to get out of bed. It's easier to do what you have to do. It's easier to do the things you don't like doing. Nobody on the planet likes doing things they don't like doing. If it's a leg day at the gym, if it's abs, if it's, doing scales when you're playing a musical instrument, when you'd rather just play Stairway to Heaven or some other cool solo, you'd rather like rock out. But in order to get to the place where you can do that stuff, you have to be able to do the scales on the musical instrument with your vocal instrument, your voice, right? If it's playing basketball, you got to learn how to dribble, pass, and shoot before you can do any other spin moves, post moves, crossovers, whatever they are, wraparounds, rondo, whatever the heck they are. You have to know the basics, right? And, but it's easier to do the things that are not fun when you have vision. I think the two things everybody in the history of mankind needs to develop more of, and they're both important. Vision, so write these down. Vision is a skill, and habits. Habits. And then I want you to write down the worst word, the worst thing. This is a tool of Satan. Motivation. Motivation is a tool of Satan. What? No, Phil, I'm motivated. I'm ready. I'm going. I'm pumped for 10 minutes. In fact, Phil, I'm feeling the other one is habits, Val, habits. Motivation is fleeting. Who's ever been negatively motivated? It's called self-sabotage. Ever heard of that? In today's world, it's self-harm. You can harm yourself physically and you can harm yourself mentally. Again, something I've talked about with a couple of you recently. You can literally harm yourself mentally, spiritually. Nod your head if you can harm yourself spiritually. Of course, right? Mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, you can harm yourself and you can be harmed. So motivation is just like any other emotion. It's a secondary emotion, by the way, but it's a motivation that goes and comes, or you could call it positive or negatively motivated. It's like an electric charge. You can be negatively charged, you can be positively charged, yes or yes. Yeah, right? You literally have to ground yourself. I have a grounding sheet for my bed. You get outside, you put your feet in the grass, right? So you get grounded because otherwise you're negatively or positively charged, and that's actually messing with the cells in your body. Everyone with me on this? Phil's going off on something and he's just talking about consistency. What the frick? Right? Motivation is a tool of Satan. So what are the two things that matter most? Because how many have ever had a huge vision? Like you really wanted to achieve a state championship, a 4.0. You wanted to win one freaking basketball game. What do you call the thing on Fortnite or Roblox, like a battle royale? Is that what they're called? Battle royales? Yeah, you wanted to win the battle royale. So yes, you were temporarily motivated. But like if you have usually it's something bigger than a battle royale. But if it's a semester, if it's a college education, a diploma, if it's I struggle to wake up in the morning or struggle to do what I need to do when I'm supposed to do it. How about parenting? Holy mother of, I'm telling you, Pearl, if you don't have vision when you're a parent, those little freckers are going to say things and do things that are going to drive you nuts. And when you have no vision and no habits, you will be a poor parent because you will only be motivated when you're in a good mood with your kids. I got news for you. I am not in a good mood with my kids most of the time. Why? I have kids of all ages. So if it's not my teenager that's ticking me off right now, it's my 8-year-old who can't sit still. If it's not that, then it's my 12-year-old's emotions. And if it's not that, it's my 20-year-old and 18-year-old's emotions. I am negatively charged and negatively motivated with my kids most of the time. But if I'm wanting to be a good parent, nod your head if you think parents want to be good. Parents want to be good. most of the time they do, then they need those two things. What are the two things again? Cal, Val, Jordan, it's habits and vision. Now, let's go back. I was talking about vision, wasn't I? You have a vision for a 4.0, you get up. You get out of bed. It's freezing cold in Logan, Utah. I don't want to go outside. You still get up and get out of bed and you go to school. I'm sorry, that's habits. Let's go back to vision. Vision can pull you out of anything. Vision can pull you out of anything. Patrick, Shay can pull you out of anything. Vision for what you want to do with your degree. Vision for what you want to be as a dad, as a parent, right? You guys know that I'm a part of Front Row Dads. We're family men with a business versus businessman with a family, right? That's what that means, Front Row Dads. And I'll tell you right now, guys, Front Row Dads is awesome because it gives me a better vision. We have 6 pillars in the Front Row Dads. It's vibrant health, physically, emotional intelligence, financial business evolution, wealth and legacy, thriving marriage, and something intentional parenting, right? So those 6 pillars give me and the Front Row Dads organization, right, a vision in each of those 6 areas of our life. Is everyone with me? So when I go to a conference online or go to a retreat in person and I want to learn about vibrant health or intentional parenting, it gives me more vision. I'm spending my time and my energy and my focus and my money in this organization to give me a better vision of what my parenting style, what my family relationships should be. And then what do? Better vision means I'm going to have better actions. So vision can pull you. I'm going to say it again. Vision, I'll share the story, right? Vision, and again, I'm leaving consistency on the screen on purpose. But this dagger, right? My goal is to sell less. I already won a scholarship. I already won it. Who thinks that's freaking like this thing's bad asteroids? Yes or yes? That thing's pimping. Big pimping. Like that thing is awesome looking, right? This dagger came out. I could buy this thing for $200. I don't need to win a dagger. I had plenty of money. Do you guys understand that? I had plenty of money. But I was going to sell less and have a bigger vision for running an office. So as an assistant manager, I was going to sell less the second summer I was an assistant because remember I moved from Chicago to Utah. I would never wait if I wasn't like married with a stepchild and another baby and I had a family to transport versus if I was single, I'd be like, I can run a branch anywhere. I can run a district manager office anywhere. And we didn't have virtual back then. We didn't have virtual. We didn't have these flexible things to do remote situations, right? Well, anyway, so the second summer I was an assistant manager and having moved and my wife having moved even more than I had moved, we weren't going to move. And so I was an assistant manager second summer. Well, I was going to sell less, make a little less in the office on my personal sales and make more from office. But then they came out with that dagger and we had to sell $40,000 to get that dagger. And I was like, done. It's already done. I'm getting that freaking dagger. So I made that vision of winning that dagger. How many of you guys can understand? But that dagger made me win top 10 scholarship winner. It made me make $20,000. It made me win the consistency strings. Remember, 10 weeks over 1,000, right? Calvin, you're 2 weeks over 1,000, right? Obviously, you're 2 weeks over 2 grand, and you're 1 week over 7 or 8 grand. But my point is, you have to do consistent 10 weeks in a row. So I'm gonna write down 10 weeks in a row. Everyone write down 10 weeks in a row. 10 weeks in a row, we're going to talk about habits. I'm going from vision to habits. But when I didn't want to sell something, it sounds funny, but like when I wasn't motivated, remember motivation is a bad thing. It's a fleeting emotion. When I wasn't motivated, I had to sell 1,000, which was 4 orders back then. For you guys, 4 orders would be $2,000 to $3,000 in sales. But back in the 1900s, 4 orders was $1,000. So I'm like, I'm getting 4 orders no matter what happens. And there were weeks where the last Monday night before we shipped the orders at 5:45 p.m. in UPS, we didn't have online orders. We had to ship paper order forms. And before 5:45, heck, I drove the freaking envelope of order forms to the UPS garage at the Salt Lake City airport a couple of weeks because I had to hit 1,000 before we shipped the orders, and then I brought the orders to the dang UPS depot at the airport at 8 p.m. because that gave me an extra 3 hours to make the sales. How many of you guys think that's commitment? That's commitment. And it was a matter of hitting my consistency string. At some weeks, it was the last order of the night, and it was at 5, 6 o'clock at night. I drove to the airport. I'm like, I'm hitting 1,000, baby. And I did it, and I shipped the whole team's order forms as an assistant manager. We don't have to do that nowadays, and we have till 4 a.m. to make orders in the evening now, right? Well, anyways, being in that I had vision for what I wanted to do in Vector next summer and the summer after that, that gave me motivation today. It gave me the temporary motivation today to get out of bed, to get up on time, to make phone calls, to do demos, to drop down when I didn't feel like dropping down, to drop down when the customer said they weren't going to buy anything, when they were just saying and blowing smoke, when they said they liked their plastic knives. I still dropped down. And the funny thing was that a lot of people bought from me, even though they said they weren't going to buy from me, and they gave me negative buying signals. Who's ever got negative buying signals? Yes. Who's ever been negatively impacted by those negative buying symbols? Yes. And how many of you guys skipped a spot, skipped a step, didn't drop down with either following the manual or didn't do it with very much emotion, confidence, conviction, or of any kind? You like deflated your attitude when they were trying to deflate your attitude. That's what demotivated me sometimes. But when I had vision for what I wanted to achieve, I maintained the right attitude about selling because of the vision. Second thing, habits. Habits. Habits will get you out of bed when you don't want to get out of bed. That's why write down the second tool of Satan is the snooze button. The snooze button. Dude, it's the worst thing. It's psychologically, physiologically, scientifically the worst quality sleep you can possibly have. I will go off on this for an hour if you want me to, guys. I will prove it to you. But if not only is it scientifically, physiologically, and spiritually the worst decision you make, why? Because the worst decision you can ever make is the decision that goes against your own best wishes for yourself. Let me say it again. Your best wishes for yourself when you went to bed was to wake up at blankety blank time. I don't care if it's 2 a.m., 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., whether there's alcohol, drugs, or anything involved, or just lack of sleep or lack of motivation. When you make the decision to hit the snooze button, when you put the alarm there yourself, you made the decision when your alarm goes off, right? And then the first decision you make at the beginning of the day is to go against your own best wishes for yourself. And not only that, to get the worst possible sleep psychologically, physically, and spiritually you can possibly get, what are you trading 9 minutes for? Doofus, right? Worst tool of Satan besides motivation, negative or positive motivation. Second tool of Satan is the snooze button. So the habit that I develop is I'm getting out of bed. And habits trump motivation. Write that down. Habits trump motivation. Okay? At this point, this book is in DI. It's literally everywhere. You could buy one for $3 on Amazon. Okay? The book cost I don't know, more than that years ago. I can't find the price for this baby. Oh, $27. But David A. Bednar and 14 other apostles have been quoting this for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years since 2020. Okay? But habits always trump motivation. And I'll say the quote that's right out of the book that we mostly, if someone wants to type it, you can type it. But it's this: we very rarely rise to the occasion of our goals. It's loosely quoted. We very rarely, as humans, rise to the occasion of our goals. Okay, here I'll make you. You're not co-host, Patrick. I'll let you do co-host. Okay, we very rarely rise to the occasion of our goals, but we always, and I mean always, fall to the level of our standards. We fall to the level of our standards. Once again, if our goal is to be a non-smoker, we say, I'm trying to quit. I'm trying not to smoke. I'm trying not to do X, Y, Z. Versus, I'm a non-smoker. That's my standard. I don't drink. That's my standard. Guess what? How much alcohol I drank ever in my career, in my life? I haven't drank since I was 9, guys. My dad gave me a sip of beer, a sip of martini, and a sip of wine. They all tasted like crap, but I haven't drank in 40 years. I don't drink. Is everyone with me on that? I don't drink. So we very rarely rise to the equation of our goals. We always fall to the level of our standards. So if $1,000 a week, Calvin, senior in high school, your job is to sell 1,000 a week and I make $300 getting 2 orders a week, I'll do that. That's a better job than frickin' Taco Time, Wendy's on Alpine Highway, working at Little Caesars, slinging those nasty pizzas that are disgusting. They literally taste good for about 3 minutes and then they're bad after that. Okay. When they're piping hot out of the oven. Okay. So, and they're not even good then. But anyway, guys, if the standard is I'm selling 1,000, I'm selling 2,000, I'm selling 3,000, let's bring it back to this slide. Guys, key staff people, they hit strings. Key staff people hit strings. Sell 1,000, sell 1,000, sell 1,000, sell 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Okay, so my challenge to all y'all, okay, is hit 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000. Because when you do, Calvin, Jordan, anyone that's newer to this meeting, if you sell 10 weeks in a row over a grand, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever grand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you do it 10 weeks in a row, you get an engraved steak knife. Okay, you get an engraved steak knife, which is cool. But now I want you to write down the girl math. You know what I'm going to say right now. A couple of you know what I'm going to say. 10 weeks times 1,000. Write it down, Calvin. Write it down, Jordan. Write it down, Val. Write it down, Keisha. Write it down, Keaton. 10 weeks times 1,000 is equal to 20 grand. It's not it's not 10 grand, Jordan. Because if your horizontal asymptote is 1,000, you're never below 1,000, you can't drop below it. You'll sell 1,006, you'll sell 20, you'll sell 2,200, you'll sell 1,700, 1,200, 1,300, you'll sell 1,009 on that last week or on that last night of the week. You'll sell that trimmer and get you over 1,000. You'll sell 3 grand or 4 grand. By the end of 10 weeks, you're at 20 G's. So take where you're at right now in career sales, Calvin. Take where you're at, Ashley, and add 20 grand. In 10 weeks, it's going to be the end of March. I'm sorry, 3 plus 4, it's going to be the middle of April. It's going to be just after tax day. It's like Easter. How many of you guys would love to be at $20,000 to $30,000 in Cutco sales right from now until Easter? Who thinks that'd be sweet? Add 20 grand. This is if you only hit 1,000 a week, Calvin, Seth, Keaton. If you only sell 1,000 a week, you're going to be $5,000 to $7,500, $5,000 to $7,500 richer than you are right now. Calvin, you'll be $7,000 richer than you are right now. You just made 2 grand. Do you think 7 grand would come in handy in the next 7 weeks? Okay. You want to text Patrick? Patrick, will you text Lance and me and you in a 3-way? Just say we're in a key staff meeting. What can we do for you? Lance, me, and you. Okay. So just say we're in key staff. What can I do for you? All right. You saw his negative this week, right? Okay. So, boom, boom, boom. You guys with me on that? Starting a string, 1,000 string, 2,000 string, 3, 4, 5. But if you're only hitting 1,000, you're $5,000 to $7,500 richer than you are today. Divide 5,000 by 10 weeks. 500 divided by 10 weeks, or 5,000 divided by 10 weeks is obviously 500. So what is your income per week? 5,000 divided by 10 is 500. Take $7,500, Ashley, and divide that by 10 weeks. What's your average income in 10 weeks? It's $750 a week. Just selling 1,000, that makes no sense. 1,000, even at 15%, right? Even at 50%, 1,000 should only be 500. But remember, you're not selling 1,000. You're selling 1,700, 1,500, 3,000, 3,200, 2,600. So you average income $750. By the way, for a new rep, they'd make 5,000. None of you are new-ish. But if you're less than 200 grand in sales, you are pretty new, right? But none of you are at 10%. You're all at 20, 25%. So you guys would make $1,000 or more dollars above the 5,000. You'd make 6,000, whatever dollars. Okay. So why am I sharing this? Because I want you guys to be on a string. I want you guys to be on a string. Okay. Because what we need is three things from you guys to be official key staff members. Right? We need you selling consistently, which is why spent 28 minutes talking about consistency. Guys, 3 to 4 demos, you sell 2 orders, you might be over $1,000 right there. 3 to 5, 6, 7 demos, you're doing a demo a day, you're selling an order every other day. It only takes 3, 4 orders and you're selling 1,000 or 2 a week, and it's like 6, 7 demos. So weekly, we want you over 1,000. Calvin, you do what you got to do. You're good. Okay, Calvin, I'll keep this recorded. All right, awesome. Now, next thing we want is team players. Patrick, if we can get a social media post, grab one of the good ones, a little less remote focus and full better. I'd like less remote focus if possible. Okay. But guys, we want you helping us build the team. I talked to Avery about this today. She couldn't be here today. She can almost never be here on Mondays because of the school stuff. And I talked to Ashley about this today. But what we need is team builders. And then finally, team players. Most of you have the ability to be at at Champs Club in the morning. I know Ashley's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I know most of you can do it every day if you really wanted to. Keisha's there almost every single day, which is great. Seth, you're there most days. So unless you're in school, we want you on Champs Club every single Monday through Friday. And of course, can I just ask you guys, we need your influence in the office Thursday nights. So unless you're literally in Cache Valley, we want your influence here in the office on Thursday nights. Okay. And if you're in Cache Valley, we want to try and get you guys like together, like put Keisha and Ashley and Avery and Sterling and a few others in the same room. Maybe on Thursday nights, you guys can phone, you can book appointments, you can be at the team meeting together, and maybe we'll, give you a little cash and you go get some donuts or go clean the sink at whatchamacallits, Angie's, okay, on Thursday nights, okay, guys? So anyway, so why am I bringing that up? Because we want assistant managers, right? I talked to a couple of you about this today, but we have an assistant manager training meeting this Saturday. Ashley, I know you're coming to that, which is freaking awesome. Seth, we got that coming up this Saturday, noon to 4. The meeting will be like 12 to 3, and then we're gonna go grab some food. Okay. So that's something that we're looking for is our next. We want to have 7 assistant managers. Guys, we're firing Connor because he's running an office. He's out. He'll be out running an office this summer. So we need to fill his spot. We want to fill 3 to 5 more spots than we already have filled. Okay. So we want to get that done. Seth, hit me and Patrick in a 3-way text. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it, Seth. Hit me and Patrick in a, and just put AM question mark. I sent an extra email to get it taken care of, but I want to look at your thing. Okay. Anyway, and from there, our leadership academy, you guys know that the purpose of key staff, I'm doing this in reverse. I've never done this before. But the purpose of this meeting and the purpose of the key staff program is that it's the doorway to management. It's the doorway to leadership. It's the doorway to CSP. Okay, key staff reps always sell the most. So that's why I'm asking you guys to do the consistency. Once again, vision, habits, vision and habits. That's what will make you consistent in this job. And that's what will make, and plus getting good at the 5 key areas. 11, that's noon to 4, Val, but you got to talk to your manager, Val, to see if you're invited to come to that. Okay, Val? So talk to your manager about that. Okay. So, what are the KRAs? You guys should know this. The demo, the close, the phone, the leads, and personal and time management. What are the 5 key KRAs? Again, the demo, closing, phone, leads, and then personal and time management. Those are the 5 key result areas that make everybody great at this job. That's your paycheck. The way I look at it, Jordan, is that this is your current paycheck. FSM, freaking selling mucho, fired up selling machine. FSM is just anybody in above 30%. That's what FSM is, basically. Anyone above 30%, 35, 40, 45%, 50%. So FSM, getting you great at selling Cutco, this is your paycheck now. The way I look at it, this is your paycheck in and out of Vector for the rest of your life. Key staff will make Ashley more money when she leaves Vector. Okay, Seth, you will make more money outside of Vector because you are a key staff representative. And if you haven't been officially promoted, we want to officially promote you in the team meeting on Thursday, Patrick, right? So, and then finally, management and development. This, Ashley, is what I tell you today, right? We have branch managers that they make between $10,000 and $40,000 in a summer. And we have district managers that are in their first 20 months working for the job and they get a BMW from the company, they earn company trips, and they have a six-figure earning opportunity. Six-figure earning opportunity. Well, gee, I wonder if you should be on key staff if you could be earning six figures in Cutco, whether you're a CSP or whether you're a manager. Does everyone understand? Key staff's the first step. So that's our goal. Okay. So there we go. Now let's do our quick little vector impact thing. So everyone real quickly go to your vector impact, Jordan, go to your vector impact, Keisha. And I appreciate when you guys do this so well on a Friday. And then Patrick, did you get a hold of Lance and take care of him?
I texted him, and so
Yeah.
we should be good.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Fine. Call him if you want. Okay. So vector impact, right? Everyone, it's always on Mondays because this is the last week of the day of the week. You gotta right now it says Monday the 10th, right? You gotta forward it. You gotta forward use the arrow so that it shows up as Tuesday the 11th. Tuesday the 11th. Okay, and I gotta update my app right now. They're making me update my app. Okay. Um, so move it so it says Tuesday the 11th through whatever this next Monday is, the 18th or 9th, 17th, 18th. And then what I want you guys to do is enter your daily demo goal. So click on the flag. So first click it so it says February the 11th, or Tuesday the 11th through Monday the 17th. Then click the flag at the top right. Click the flag on the top right, and then go ahead and it has these slidey things and slide these babies around. Okay, and put Tuesday I want one demo, Wednesday I want zero, Thursday one, Friday I want three. Well, no, two on Valentine's Day, and then I'm going on a hot date. I put 15 demos on Sunday. What? My finger must have hit it. And then one on Monday. So when I have all these lined up, guys, right? And then I hit save, I have an 8 demo goal this week. 8 demo goal. Okay. Um, great. All right, great. Um, good. I'm seeing some text from you guys. Uh, there you go, Patrick. All right, great. Here we go, guys.
Bill, can you just tell me yes or no to what I just texted you, just so I know?
Okay. I just said yes.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
I
Perfect.
just heard a yes. I didn't understand the context.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Perfect. Okay. Um, marvelous. Right. Way to be, Ashley. That's awesome. And then go ahead and text me and Patrick, or your manager, in other words, Val. Text me and Patrick your demo goal for the week and your sales. I'm sorry, let me fix that. What I say, we fall to the level of our standards, right, Jordan? So our standard is, well, my goal is total at 10, but I'm for sure going to do 8. So subtract 20% from your demo total goal of each individual day because you'll miss one day and then you're off for the week, right? So lower it by 20%. So if you had 12 or 11 or 10 demos, lower it down to 8 and say my demo commitment. And I really want to hold you to that commitment. I've been doing that with a couple of you, and Ashley's sales, for example, have gone through the roof. She's sold 3 or 4 grand in the last 2 weeks, at least maybe 3 grand in the last 2 weeks. because she's stuck with her commitment. Okay. Thanks. You guys are texting it to me. So again, your demo commitment. Now the goal for CPO could be $10,000. I don't think it's realistic if you're only gonna do 5 demos. But if you're gonna do 5 demos, I'd say your goal should be 1,000. If you're gonna do 7 demos or 8 demos, then your goal should be 1,500. Right? For most of you in your averages, that's about what you would sell if you did that number of demos. Okay, good. I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, this is okay. Good. Let's do some 2.0. I want you guys to write down Repdom. 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 Repdom 2.0. So what I'm going to give you guys, and this is good for, I want to have an open conversation on this. Open conversation, which means I want some interaction. This is like there's 7 of us. There's 8 of us, right? 6 of you are, gosh, 5 of you are not managers, district managers or branch or division office managers, right? So if there's only 5 of you that are not currently in a running an office role, this is the moment where you should open your mouth. It's in the Doctrine and Covenants. We're studying that this year. Okay. Open your mouth and say, yeah, but Phil, or hey, Phil, can you help me with this? What about this? What about that? And the more you've sold, the more I want your questions. The less you've sold, I would kind of keep it quiet. So if you're under 5K, probably maybe don't ask as much. If you're over 5, no, I'll even say 3K. If you're under 3K, you probably just need to do more demos. If you're over 3K or over 5K or 8K, then I want you to control more of the dialogue. Let us ask those questions. I don't think they'll be too complicated. The questions won't be too complicated for someone who's only sold 3 grand. Okay, thumbs up if you're tracking on that. Cool. All right. So for the most part, this is one of my favorite. I remember giving this to one of my division manager cohorts, peers. I gave him this workshop, and they're like, "That's the greatest workshop. I love that workshop." And it was a few years ago. So if there's anything inaccurate that's slightly outdated because of prices or anything, then maybe I'll have to fix it. But I love this workshop, and I hesitate to pull it out too often, but it is one of my favorites. So Repdom 2.0, and we're literally going to do 4 or 5 KRAs. We're going to do, here's my top 3 tips on recommendations. Here's my top 3 tips on phoning. Here's my top 3 tips on the demo. Here's my top 3 tips on closing the sale. Okay, here we go. Recommendations. The first tip that I love is to stop letting yourself be impacted negatively by your negative results that you've previously gotten. Who's ever had some low or no results on Rex? And it's so silly, but you forget that 75 years of Cutco sales tell us we get referrals. You let 3 demos make you think you don't get referrals. So when I say recommit, Jordan, it's literally like Cutco knows what they're doing. You just haven't gotten the result yet. And when and I'm not like picking on you, like I know your referral results, Jordan, right? But it's like you at some point had a negative result on referrals, and sadly, it's with someone that you know really well. Now, they don't hate you, but it's like, who cares if you don't get referrals from your aunt because you know everyone your aunt knows? You literally know like 70% of her contacts. So you don't even need referrals from your aunt. Now, do you want to get referrals from your aunt? Yes. Let me ask you another question. If your aunt blows you up with referrals, like 37 referrals, aren't you like so stoked? You're so stoked. But you know 30 of those 37 referrals, so it's not like it matters that much, but it's certainly reinforcing if you get the good results. Shake your head no, like it hurts when someone that loves you, cares about you, doesn't give you referrals. But probably the reason why that was, and it's 90% accurate at least, 90% of why someone doesn't get referrals is because they stunk at asking. They just were new. They were brand new. They didn't follow the approach. They wigged out. They forgot. Heck, half of the reps forget when they ask for referrals. They literally don't even do it. So then they think, oh, no one gives me referrals. And they didn't even read the manual. They didn't even turn to the link of recommendations, right? Um, Excelente. Yeah, go ahead and send that to Val. Okay, Val, yeah, go ahead. All right, moving right along, guys. Number two, demand. I'm going to say politely demand 3 lists. What? Demanding 3 lists, guys, is the best thing you can do because it makes people's brains go in 3 different directions in a good way, not in a bad way. So I used to use the same recommendations approach. Mrs. Jones, how'd you like my presentation? Great. Here's how you could really help me out, right? Go ahead and pull out your cell phone. We can finish those questions that again, I didn't even have this app, so I'm doing this from the hip. I just reversed two slideshow, two whatever you call it, points of the. You say, great, go ahead and pull out your cell phone, and we can review those 3 last questions about my demo, so we can get this logged into the thing. Great. Here's how you could really help me out. I get paid every time I show Cutco, and I can only show it to people I've been personally recommended to. So what I'd like you to do real quick is pull out and open to your contacts in your phone, and we can think of the first 100 people that come to mind. Ha ha ha, I'm just kidding. 10 or 20 would be great. And I'm not looking for people to buy, just people nice enough to take a look. You know, uh, and then this is the most important part of it. I'm doing it from the hip, but most important part, I don't mind waiting. And I ad lib that on purpose, right? Well, what I'm saying is after you do that, Seth, I want you to do it this way. I want you to ask for everyone. I'll start for Seth. Seth does a lot of demos with people in Kentucky, Iowa, and Cincinnati and Ohio. Okay, so if I'm Seth, the first list I'm asking for, Seth, is virtual demos. Obviously, Cincinnati people are going to give you referrals in Cincinnati. Does everyone buy into that idea? If you do demos with people in Pocatello or in Peoria, Arizona, Ashley, they're going to give you what? Peoria, Arizona referrals, right? So first I ask for where they are. If they're an in-home demo in South Jordan, Jordan, well, then I'm going to ask for more people in South Jordan. Does that make sense? I'm going to ask for more people to live in Salt Lake Valley because I'm in person with them. I'm going to ask for more in-person referrals. Then I'm going to ask them for people they know in Peoria, Arizona, Cincinnati, Ohio, Pocatello, Idaho, Park City, San Diego, Costa Mesa, LA County, Orange County. Okay, is everyone with me on that? So first it's in-home, then it's virtual, or reverse that. If it's a virtual demo, I'm going to ask for a virtual demo referrals because they see those people more often. And then I ask for people they know in Utah. Hey, Ashley, everyone in Peoria, Arizona knows people in Logan, Utah. And if it isn't Logan, it's Salt Lake. And Ashley, if there's a chance you're going to work down in this area, you want to get a lot of referrals to Salt Lake City, right? So you should be asking everybody, if you're here in this state because you came, or if you're new to this state, Keisha, if you're new to this state, Jordan, you should be totally asking for more people that are local to Salt Lake City, right? Obviously, Vegas is Vegas, but then you got to ask for people in Logan and in Salt Lake City, Jordan. Does that make sense? Because then I used to drive up to Salt Lake City, do a demo, Jordan, and then I'd just be at the team meeting because I'm in the town. So if you start asking for referrals in Sandy, you can come to the team meeting every single Wednesday night because you do a Salt Lake City demo right before the team meeting. And you're like, I'm here anyways. I make it worth it. I go sell a galley set, make 600 or make $300-400, and then I go to my team meeting. That's pretty cool, right? And then, the third list, give me 3 fingers. The third list is asking for people that have Cutco. So it says service. That just means they have Cutco. So if you're not trained, not shake your head no if you're not trained to service knives yet. You're not trained. None of you here are serviced trained. Only Patrick. And Avery's going to watch this recording. Eventually, she's getting service call trained. When you're over 15 grand, you can get nationally certified, Seth Clayton, to service people's Cutco. So you got to get to 15 grand.
To who?
That was Siri. That was hilarious. Okay. And when you get to 15 grand, you can actually service their knives, but you can still do demos of people that already have Cutco. Nod your head if you've done demos for people that already have Cutco. But customers don't think of who has Cutco. They don't. You have to ask them. You have to ask them. Is everyone tracking on that? You got to ask them for people that have Cutco. They're like, oh, I know 5 people that have Cutco. You're like, what? But if you don't ask, you won't get it. Right? Ask and you shall receive. All right. Qualify your recommendation. By the way, Oliver Cowdery said that. That was a quote by Oliver Cowdery.
when he was quoting Jesus. But anyway, read your come follow me this week, okay, guys? Then it's qualify your recommendations. Qualify. After you get them, ask them to give you all the deets. Dude, it was the greatest thing in the world, old school. It's kind of weird now because they're in your app. This didn't happen. Patrick, you can speak to this. Help me out here. We used to have referral notebooks. They would give us referrals. We'd write them down and they'd be like, oh, she cooks like crazy. Oh my gosh, she'll buy anything. She's loaded. We'd say star that person, right? Oh, she cooks. I'd write cooks a lot. They have Cutco. I would write an H and then I'd circle it in big letters. So like I had all these like codes for me to know about them. I'd write down brownies. I'd write down Boy Scouts. I'd write down soccer. I'd write down aunt. I'd write down sister-in-law. I'd write down, hunts and fishes, right? So I'd write that stuff down. Well, now when they zip into your phone, can't you just go to each contact, the ones that you just got in your phone, and type notes? Guys, if you type notes and you're literally on the phone with them when you call them and you have their whole profile right there and it says hunts and fishes. Did I hear you hunt and fish like crazy? They're like, yeah, I totally do. Oh my gosh, yeah, Nancy told me that.
Can I give
Patrick,
a top tip? My
yes.
favorite question is to ask Mrs. Jones who are the first five you would call if you were in a sales contest like me. Because she knows. She knows her friends' spending habits. She knows who cooks the most. And so, yes, 100%. Like if you have time, like ask all the details on every single person. But if not, Mrs. Jones, who are the first five you would call if you were me?
Love it. I
Yeah.
love
And that's one question. And then she'll be like, oh, of those five, or of those 10 I just gave you, these five. And then you know who your five are that you need to call first. So.
it. I love this workshop. We're not even gonna get through it. So now those are my 3 tips on Rex. You guys cool with that? You feel like you got some value so far today? Besides the value of getting consistent and being on a string and remembering that what? Vision and habits can dispel you from using any of Satan's tools, one being negative or positive motivation, two, the snooze button. You're welcome. Here we go. Phoning. Who needs tips on phoning? Okay, number one is do 3 phone jams a week. At least 3 times a week, you sit down and you make phone calls hardcore. You know what that would be, Ashley? If I'm Ashley, she's at Champs Club Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and she's at Thursday night team meeting. There's 4. If she books 2 demos every single phone jam, she's got 8 demos that week. Do some demos fall through? Yep. She's probably going to complete at least 6. I bet you Ashley gets 10 demos booked in 4 phone jams. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Champs Club. Thursday night team meeting phone jam. That's 4 phone jams. She books 2 or 3 per demo per phone jam. She's got 10 demos booked. She'll complete 7, worst case, probably sell 5 orders. Boom, $2,000 week. Right? Seth, same for you. Jordan, everybody. Keisha, you got to have 3 phone jams a week. Okay. Number two is get over it. What is get over it? 1, get over the nervousness of making any phone calls. 2, get over the nervousness of calling your best people. Get over the rejection. Who worries about getting rejected on the phone? All right, I'm going to get medieval on you right now. Guys, if you're worried about getting rejected for a Cutco demo, good luck in life. Seriously, how many other freaking things do you have to get before you die that are way more important than a Cutco demo? You got to get over that fear of rejection. For crying out loud. Dude, people that don't get a demo with you, they're the ones that don't get Cutco. They have to wander the planet with junk knife-itis for the rest of their life. If they're rude or nasty to you, great. They don't deserve Cutco. Let them wander the planet. I'm fine with that if they're going to be that way. Poop heads. Okay. Like, seriously, they're the ones that don't get Cutco. So, awesome. I'm glad they don't get Cutco if they're going to be super rude to me. You know what I used to do though? If someone hung up on me, guys, I'm just going to get a little crazy here. But when they would hang up on me, I would call them back. Because who's ever hung up on someone? Boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, dad, anybody. Who's ever hung up on someone? Guys, didn't you feel like an a-hole? The second you hung up, you felt like the biggest a-hole. You're like, I'm such an idiot. You were glad and you were mad at yourself, sad that you did it. Yes or yes. So whenever they hung up on me like that and they were jerkheads, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was talking and all of a sudden you weren't there anymore. I'm sorry. It must have been my fault. And they're like, yeah, it was my fault.
It's the best. I've done it.
Yeah, I don't know what
Press
happened.
airplane mode so it looks like the call dropped, you know, like
Well, here's the funny thing. I did that as a missionary, and while I was on exchanges with the zone leaders, and they were like blown away, like, wow,
Yeah.
this kid's really good on the
Wait, you
phone.
must have
It's
learned
because
that from Chris Gary.
yeah, because I did that when I called people
Yeah,
who were referrals and they had no idea who I was.
yeah,
And oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I my phone sometimes just bugs out. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Can you hear me okay now? And then they feel so crappy. They
And
feel
you usually get a demo. Worst case, they're like, yeah, no, I'm just not. And it's just, oh, you could have just told me that. I'm sorry. And they're like, I could have told you that, but I didn't. It's very rare that you get that anyway. No one really hangs up on you that often. But if you're worried about it, good luck in life, right? What's number two? Get over it. It's a song by the Eagles. And then oh, this is so money in your bank, dude. AFTA 3X. AFTA 3X. You got to ask for the appointment, AFTA 3X. So it's would this time or this time work, right, Jordan? You ask for two choices. And when they say I can't do it those times, you say, oh, I totally understand that. It's in your script. You just scroll down. Oh, you're busy? You mean you're like every other person who has 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, a job and a family and kids? Okay, fine. And piano and dance lessons? Okay, no problem. Well, hey, I really need to get 7 more appointments this week to hit my goal. This many appointments by this time. So the goal and the deadline, the goal and the deadline. So if those times don't work, would these 2 times, 4 or 7, 6:30, 4 or 5:30, or if those 2 times are, then it's like what, 7 or 8:30. But it's always choice of 2 times. That's why you have to have your schedule made. Side note. You got to have your schedule made, and it needs to have all the times that are not demo times, all the times that are fun time, school time, workout time, gym time, sleep time, and you got to have all that stuff in there because then you have probably 3 or 4 times the number of demos you're actually going to do. You might have 28 spots open on your schedule for the week, but if you're trying to do 7 demos, you have 28 openings. You can pick 2 more choices. And then if those 2 times don't work, oh man, you're just super busy, aren't you? Oh, I totally understand that. Well, I'll tell you what, I promise I'll talk fast. It would really help me out because I need to get 7 appointments by Friday. So how would this time on Wednesday or this time on Wednesday work? Still offer a choice of 2 times. Guys, if you do, and write this down if you want this way, notice how I have 2x, 3x. Does everyone understand 2x, 3x? Well, that's 6 times. So I want you to write down 2x, 3x. You offer 2 choices 3 times. If you offer 2 times, 3 times, that's 6 times. If they can't make one of those 6 work, they probably are too busy for that week. And you know what? I'm going to get that demo next week. I'm not going to book it that far in advance usually, but you get the idea. All right, let's do the demo. I'm going to try and go fast. Number 1, relive your fast start with your chicken list. I'm just going to say this. There's at least 2 or 3 signature sets that you just haven't called yet. It's weird to refer to a human being as a signature set, but you know what I'm talking about. There's at least 2 or 3 human beings that you have not called because you were chicken to call them. Like I said, if you're worried about getting rejected, good luck in life, right? If you're worried about getting rejected. But if you call those people, there's probably 2 or 3 signature sets that you could sell this week if you call them. There is a demo in time and space. This is from a philosophy book I read in the 1900s. There is a demo that exists in time and space that could be done for any human being that lives in a home and has kids that could result in the sale of an ultimate or a signature set. Let me say it again. There is a demo that exists in some point in time and space that could be done for any human being that lives in a home and has kids that could result in the sale of an ultimate or a signature set. I have that memorized from when I took philosophy class in 1999 at BYU. It was in the book, guys. But those people haven't been called yet. And they would buy it from you, of all people. The next thing about the demo is to have your best customers queued up. Have your top 20 or 30 lists queued up. You know those are the people you need to focus on. That's why you have your workbook. Redo your top 20 or 30 lists, guys. This could be the week where you get your 10K promotion. This could be the week that you get your 15K career sales mark and get certified to do service calls. Okay. But it's like, this is a demo tip? No, this is a names list tip. Exactly. Exactly. You want to kick asteroid demos? See some kick asteroid people. And then finally, it's value building. Guys, you just got to be a value. They should be like, dude, whether you sell a signature set or a homemaker, when that demo's over and you leave, you leave their house or shut off the Zoom, they should be like, dude, she is on crack with Cutco. She is so freaking fired up about these knives. This was amazing. I can't even believe how much value he built. I can't even believe how much Jordan is in love with knives. You're the knifeologist. You're the one human being that should be on dope with Cutco. Like, you're jacked up on Cutco. You should be that way. That doesn't mean change who you are. If you're low key normally, don't turn into some freaky deaky who they think you're on drugs. Don't be like that. But man, they should be like, that kid was so fire. I used to love it when my reps, this is a long time ago, but because I sold Cutco that long ago, but I used to love it when my reps who I sold Cutco to, customers, they'd go see people that I sold Cutco to like 2-3 years before. And they're like, dude, Phil, I just went to one of your customers. And they were just freaking out. They were like, that kid, Phil, was so fired up about Cutco. And I'm like, thank you very much. I was like proud to be the Cutco nerd. I was proud to know that the customer was like, he was so freaking enthusiastic about Cutco. Who's the one that should be? All right, I'll go one extra minute, guys. Okay, that one kid 31 years ago, Phil, or Patrick. All right, number one on closing the sale is if you're not doing the ultimate and signature set close every time, you should. And we did this today in the Champs Club. If you beg and text your manager right now, we will send you today's Champs Club. Patrick can send it right now if you ask him for today's Champs Club video. It was a different video that you haven't seen before. I loved it. And it was just philosophy on selling ultimate and signature sets. By the way, there's two ways to do the ultimate and signature set. There's either the ultimate to the signature set, to the homemaker, to the galley, blah, blah, blah. Or there's the 3-set close where you show ultimate, signature, homemaker. You show all three, say which one do you like, and then you begin the drop down from whatever they pick. If they pick the signature set, you just drop down to the homemaker if they don't buy the signature set. If they pick the ultimate set, you go ultimate, signature, homemaker, and down, right? And if you need that, we can send that to you, and there's two ways to find it. Number two is, guys, 50% of your sales are not sets. 50% of your sales are not sets. Now, 2 weeks ago, we went over how to build the like list. 3 weeks ago, we went over how to build a like list. And 2 weeks ago, I think it was, we went over how to drop down on a like list. But here's the quick of it. Guys, if the homemaker is 1,600, the galley is 1,200, the starter set's 800 or 900, and the medium, middle orders are 500. What is the numbers, guys? 16 down to 12, down to 8, down to 5. Is everyone with me at 16, 12, 8, 5? Just do that with a like list. Get a $1,600 like list built. If that doesn't work, drop down to a $1,200 like list. And if the $1,200 like list doesn't work, drop down to an $800 like list. You'll probably sell the 800. And if you drop down from a 800 to a 500, that's how you sell big like lists. You got to build the list up first. Then you get that list big, and it's so much easier to sell a middle or a higher end like list because it's a drop or two down from the way big like list. Sometimes our CSPs, they're starting with $12,000, $15,000 like lists because they're getting cookware and flatware and all that on the order. And they're dropping corporate gifts and wedding gifts. They're dropping down from there. Either way, it's still mastery on like list, okay? And then the last thing, yeah, it basically is the same thing. The way to build the like list is with the big 7. Patrick, will you text me and say fix big 5 to big 7? It needs to be a big 7. Guys, that is Repdom 2.0. I hope that wasn't too fast. I hope you appreciate the learning. I hope you took some of that, whether it's 1 tip or 2 tips on recos, 1 or 2 tips on selling. I wanted to make it simple, but those are 4 of the 5 KRAs. We basically did the 5th KRA by talking about habits and vision, right? Habits and vision. Because if you have habits and vision, dude, your personal and time management, which is the 5th KRA, personal and time management, you'll have the results. Hey guys, it's going to be a big week this week. Huge week. Okay. And we need you. We want you getting CPOs, getting pay raises, and Champs Club tomorrow and the week, all week, and then team meeting Thursday night. Okay, guys? Peace.
Bye.